Doing the business of the Chicago Cubs on this segment of the program, and there are some additional needs. Despite the additions of Dansby Swanson, Jamison Tyone, and others, first base is an area where there is some help out there on the free agent market. We'll speculate on some names there. Look, statistically, it might look like they have a need at third. I'm a big Patrick Wisdom fan, so I think they're good there. And who doesn't need bullpen help? The Cubs really need it because that blown saves total was eye-popping in 2022. So as we welcome you back inside, in addition to the names that are out there on the free agent first base market, there are other players, and we're going to have a little game later on where we have some guys in the slot machine and try to find homes for them. But between Brandon Belt, Trey Mancini, Yuli Gurriel, and others, there's help out there at the first base market.
Yeah, like corners, DH type guys. That's I like. I mean, we're going to get into him later, but I like Trey Mancini as a fit there. Just that type of good clubhouse guy who can come in and really help out. I think what they did with Bellinger coming into this lineup and hopefully getting to plug him in center field is, and you could see it there, is they're hoping that Christopher Morel can move back to. I mean, he's played all over the place for them, right? This guy can play everywhere, and so they're hoping they can bring him into the infield and put him at third base, and that kind of shores up, I think, third base for them both defensively and hopefully offensively. I mean, he's an incredible talent. So I think they're trying to do things in a roundabout way, but to me, it's just a team that it's got to go. I want to see him go all in. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I love the Swanson signing. I mean, great player. I played with him in Atlanta. I was there when he came up. Fantastic young kid at the time. Good head on his shoulders. He knows. I mean, he's got such a good focus, and a lot of those guys in Atlanta did. I think he brings a lot to this team. It's just. They just needed more help. They need more.
Yeah, these additions are interesting, and that's to say nothing of the we haven't talked about Cody Bellinger yet. He's the wild card for me. If he has a 2018 Cody Bellinger season, man, they're going to be right in it.
Oh, it's great.
Division.
Yeah.
And Bellinger comes on a low-risk one-year deal. Makes a lot of sense for him to try to reestablish. There's such upside with him athletically that it makes a lot of sense for the Cubs. I want to go back to that projected batting order if we can, because the first base option that we have identified, Matt Mervis, had big years at Duke, but he's an undrafted free agent, which would make a lot of sense for a team that's maybe in a rebuild. I don't think the Cubs can afford a rebuild type year, not with the checks that they've written already this offseason. To finish your point, Rec, you're already 3/4 of the way there. You can't add two big deals, guys like Tyone and Swanson, and then not do more. So my answer is this. Yes, you've added an outfielder in Bellinger, a left-handed hitting outfielder. Michael Conforto's still out there. And I think Michael Conforto could potentially be interested, I don't want to speak for he and his camp, but in a place like Wrigley Field, a place in the middle of the country, a place where you're going to have a chance to play a lot. Yeah, they're left-handed bats there, but there are a lot of teams that could use Michael Conforto on maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. And I don't know about, getting a first baseman per se or addressing what's a perceived weakness. What about going and just getting the best bat that's still out there?
There's something to that for sure. And I think Michael Conforto fits a lot of teams really well right now, because if they're looking for one more bat, if they're looking for an outfielder, if they're looking for a left-handed bat, there's a lot of boxes that he can check, and the potential is still there of a guy who hits 280 with 30 and drives in a bunch of runs and does all the little things right. So he fits a lot of teams well. This Chicago Cubs lineup, as you looked at it there, I think you're onto something, though, with the left-handed bat. They only had two lefties, and I mean, switch hitter or two in the lineup, but they only had two lefties in that lineup that we just saw. So adding another left-handed bat, a big left-handed bat, someone who could really come in and shore up kind of the middle of your lineup. Seiya Suzuki, even though he had a nice year last year, there's still somewhat of an unknown to him. He was injured for part of the year. So bringing someone in who you hope you can fill a role. Again, though, Michael Conforto is a question mark in his own right, just because he hasn't played at all in a year.
Right.
Is he fully healthy? Those are some of the questions that the front offices have to answer when they're thinking about the risk they need to take.
Cubs are a perfect team to maybe roll the dice on somebody like that. So Cubs have already done some business, more business to do.